The story begins with a quiet courtroom filled with whispers. The air was heavy with judgment as people waited for the reading of an old man's will. At the back sat Ethan, a tired-looking single father in his late 30s. His clothes were worn, his face showed years of struggle, and his little daughter, Lily, clung tightly to his hand. Ethan hadn't come expecting much. His father had been a stern, distant man, and most of the family had long looked down on Ethan for his failures. When the lawyer finally read the will, Ethan's siblings, polished, successful, and wealthy, leaned forward eagerly. To Ethan, the words hit like a stone. "To my son Ethan, I leave the sum of $1. The room erupted in laughter. His brothers smirked, his sisters whispered cruel jokes, and even distant relatives chuckled. "A whole $1, one of them sneered. "Guess that's all you're worth." Ethan kept his head down, squeezing Lily's hand tighter. She looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes. "It's okay, Daddy," she whispered. But inside, Ethan's heart broke, not because of the money, but because of the humiliation. The lawyer handed him an envelope with the single dollar bill inside. The CEO of his family's business, his eldest brother Richard, smirked as he walked past Ethan. "Some people get what they deserve," Richard muttered. Ethan pocketed the dollar without a word and left. To everyone else, it was a cruel joke. To Ethan, it was one more reminder of how unwanted he had always been in the family. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Ethan sat at the small kitchen table in their cramped apartment. He pulled out the dollar bill and noticed something odd. It wasn't an ordinary bill, it felt slightly thicker, as if something was hidden inside. With trembling fingers, he held it up to the light. His eyes widened. There, faintly visible, was handwriting. Carefully, he opened the edge of the bill and slid out a tiny folded note. His heart pounded as he read his father's words. "Ethan, if you're reading this, then you are the only one who cared enough not to throw away what seemed worthless. I know I failed you as a father. I judged you harshly, not realizing the strength it takes to raise a child alone. But I want you to know, I always admired you from a distance. This dollar is only a key. Look behind the old photo of your mother in my study. What you'll find is yours." Ethan's hands shook. Could this be real? The next day, he nervously drove Lily to his father's house, a place filled with memories of cold silence and disapproval. In the study, he lifted the dusty photo of his late mother. Behind it, taped to the wall, was a small metal key with a tag, Bank Box number 312. At the bank, Ethan presented the key. The clerk guided him to a private room and opened the safety deposit box. Ethan gasped. Inside was a thick stack of documents, legal titles, and account statements. His father had left him not just money, but ownership of several small businesses, land deeds, and a letter confirming Ethan as the sole beneficiary of assets worth millions. The dollar had been a test. The siblings, blinded by greed, had mocked him. But Ethan's father had hidden everything behind what seemed worthless. For a moment, Ethan sat in stunned silence. Lily tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, are we okay now?" she asked softly. Ethan knelt, hugging her tightly. Tears streamed down his face. "Yes, baby. We're more than okay." When the truth came out, the family was in shock. Richard, the CEO brother, tried to contest it in court, but the documents were airtight. The man who had been mocked as the family's failure was now their equal, and in some ways, far greater. But Ethan didn't seek revenge. Instead, he used his inheritance wisely. He expanded his father's small businesses, creating job opportunity for struggling families. He donated to single-parent programs, remembering every night he had gone to bed worried about Lily's future. Years later, Ethan stood on a stage, invited as a guest speaker at a business conference. The audience, filled with CEOs and entrepreneurs, listened intently as he shared his journey. He didn't boast about wealth. Instead, he spoke about resilience, humility, and the hidden value in things the world mocks or overlooks. He ended with these words, "My father left me $1. Everyone laughed. But inside that dollar, I found not just wealth, but a lesson, that worth isn't measured by what others see, but by what is hidden in the heart." And sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest treasures. The crowd erupted in applause. Lily, now a teenager, watched proudly from the front row. She had seen her father mocked, broken, and doubted, but she had also seen him rise. And Ethan, the single dad once left with just $1, had become a man who built not just an empire, but a legacy of love and hope. Sometimes, what looks worthless hides the greatest value. True strength is not in wealth or titles, but in perseverance, love, and the courage to keep going when the world mocks you.